Have you ever won an argument that never actually happened? Maybe you've been driving, taking a shower, staring out a window, or trying to fall asleep when suddenly your mind starts creating a scene. You're explaining yourself perfectly. You're finally saying everything you should have said. You're proving someone wrong. Or maybe you're imagining a future version of yourself, more successful, more confident, more respected. The strange thing is that none of it is real. Yet your emotions react as if it is. Your heart speeds up. You feel excitement, frustration, relief, even anxiety. All from a conversation that exists nowhere except inside your head. So why does this happen? Why do so many people spend hours imagining situations that may never occur? The answer has less to do with daydreaming and more to do with how the human brain is designed. And once you understand what's happening behind the scenes, you'll probably start noticing this pattern everywhere. Most people think imagination is just entertainment. In reality, it's one of the brain's most important survival tools. Long before humans built cities, created technology, or developed modern society, our ancestors relied on their ability to predict what might happen next. The brain evolved to ask questions constantly. What if this goes wrong? What if that person reacts badly? What if there's danger ahead? The ability to mentally travel into the future helped humans prepare before taking action. In many ways, your brain is always trying to stay one step ahead of reality. That's why even today, your mind runs simulations all the time. Before a job interview. Before a difficult conversation. Before making a major decision. Your brain quietly creates possible outcomes and tests them internally. It's almost like having a rehearsal room inside your head. Athletes visualize winning races. Musicians imagine performing on stage. Entrepreneurs picture successful outcomes before launching a business. Mental rehearsal can be incredibly useful. But here's where things get interesting. For some people, the rehearsal never stops. The mind keeps generating scenarios even when there is nothing to prepare for. A random comment from yesterday turns into a 30-minute imaginary debate. A simple text message becomes 10 different possible interpretations. A future event that hasn't happened yet turns into an entire movie playing inside your head. And that's usually a sign that something deeper is happening emotionally. Because most imagined scenarios aren't really about the scenario itself. They're about what that scenario represents. Think about it. Have you ever replayed a conversation over and over because you wished you'd responded differently? That's not your brain being irrational. That's your brain trying to resolve unfinished emotional business. The conversation ended. But emotionally, it still feels incomplete. So your mind keeps revisiting it, searching for closure. Other times, the imagined scenario isn't about the past. It's about the future. You picture yourself succeeding, getting recognition, achieving a goal, finally becoming the person you've always wanted to be. These fantasies can feel motivating. They can give you hope. But they can also become dangerous when imagining success starts replacing the work required to achieve it. Because the brain doesn't always distinguish between experiencing something and vividly imagining it. The more realistic the fantasy becomes, the easier it is to feel temporarily satisfied without taking action. Then there's a third category that almost everyone experiences: catastrophe scenarios. The what if everything goes wrong stories. What if I embarrass myself? What if they reject me? What if I fail? What if people judge me? What's fascinating is that the human brain naturally pays more attention to threats than opportunities. Psychologists often refer to this as a negativity bias. Your ancestors survived by spotting danger quickly. As a result, modern humans still have brains that constantly scan for potential problems even when no real threat exists. That's why a single negative possibility can sometimes feel more powerful than 10 positive ones. But there is another pattern that often appears in people who frequently imagine conversations in future situations. Many of them are highly aware of other people's opinions. Not because they're attention seekers. Not because they're self-centered. But because they're socially sensitive. They notice subtle reactions, small changes in tone, facial expressions, body language. Their minds collect information and then continue processing it long after the interaction ends. The result? Endless internal conversations. Endless mental rehearsals. Endless attempts to understand what other people might be thinking. At first, this can seem productive. After all, reflection helps us learn. But eventually, there's a line. And once that line is crossed, imagination stops serving you. You start serving it. Instead of helping you prepare for life, it begins pulling you away from life. Because imagination offers something reality never can: control. In your imagined world, you always know what to say. People understand your intentions. Arguments end the way you want them to. The outcome makes sense. Reality is messy. People are unpredictable. Conversations don't follow scripts. Plans fail. Misunderstandings happen. And that's exactly why real life matters more than the version inside your head. Growth doesn't happen in imagined conversations. It happens in actual conversations. Confidence isn't built by rehearsing forever. It's built by acting despite uncertainty. The goal isn't to stop imagining. That's impossible. And honestly, it wouldn't even be desirable. Imagination is responsible for creativity, innovation, problem solving, and progress. The goal is learning when imagination is preparing you for reality and when it's becoming an escape from reality. Because there is a huge difference between thinking about life and actually living it. One creates possibilities. The other creates experiences. So the next time you catch yourself lost in a conversation that isn't real, pause for a moment and ask yourself, am I preparing for something? Or am I hiding inside a version of reality where everything feels safer? The answer might tell you more about yourself than the imaginary conversation ever could. And now I'm curious. What's the most common scenario your mind creates? Do you replay old conversations? Imagine future success? Or prepare for worst-case situations that never happen? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and want more content about psychology, human behavior, and the hidden patterns behind everyday thinking, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Because sometimes the most interesting place to explore isn't the world around us. It's the one inside our own minds.